The Wall Street utility that oversees $114 trillion in assets just made a decision. And almost nobody watching the price of XRP right now has actually processed what that decision means. DTCC didn't pick XRP. DTCC picked Stellar, not as one of several options, as the first public blockchain, the largest security settlement infrastructure in the United States has ever connected its tokenized platform to. Sit with that for a second, because everything else in this video builds off that single fact. Let's talk about what's actually happening with XRP right now, because you need the honest picture before we get to why. Something bigger is unfolding somewhere else. XRP is trading right around $1.06 to 10 cents as of the time of recording. That's down roughly 40% since the start of the year. The spot ETFs are technically live. 7 of them now, combined assets under management sitting around $1 billion. But the flow into those funds has gone almost completely quiet. So 10 of 17 trading days in July registered 0 net flow, 0 total net demand across that entire month, landed at roughly $27 million against a fund complex holding close to $1 billion. That is not the picture of overwhelming institutional conviction. That's the picture of a market that got its approval, celebrated for a week, and then went quiet, waiting for the next catalyst that hasn't shown up yet. And here's the part that makes this even more uncomfortable. If you're only watching the price, every single month, up to 1 billion XRP can be released from escrow. And while Ripple typically sends most of that back into new escrow contracts, a meaningful chunk still enters circulating supply on a predictable, recurring schedule. That's dilution happening on autopilot every single month, regardless of what the ETF desks are doing. So you've got thin ETF demand on one side of the ledger and structural supply increases on the other side. And the price is caught in the middle of that tug of war, sitting near its year-to-date low as of this recording. Look at the exchange flow data too, because it tells a more complicated story than the ETF headlines alone. Coins have continued leaving exchanges throughout this period, which on its own usually reads as bullish. Fewer tokens sitting on exchanges available to sell typically signals accumulation, but the pace of that outflow has been shrinking fast. Net exchange position change dropped by roughly 2/3 over just a few weeks in July, meaning the accumulation signal that would normally offset weak ETF